Welcome into this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. So on Thursday, in case you missed it, we did a live 3-round Chat Sports mock draft. I want to kind of explain how this all works. I got to make the picks for the Kansas City Chiefs, and our other hosts here at Chat Sports for the channels that they cover, they got to make the selections for their teams. And so what we're going to do here on today's show is I'm going to show you the picks I made, explain my reasoning, walk through it, and we will react to it. And then we'll also show you the first round selections that were made by our other Chat Sports hosts as well, coming up here on today's show. Before we do that, folks, we are closing in on 70.5 thousand subscribers here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We are almost there. We would love to get there before the NFL draft next week. We will be live on Thursday and Friday for the 2025 NFL draft. Don't miss out on our live coverage here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for free and join us on Thursday. YouTube.com/Chiefs TV. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. So, at 31 overall, I went Gray Zabel. And you had, I think, basically two options to go offensive line here if you're Kansas City with this pick. And for me, it came down to Zabel or Simmons. And I'll say this. The deciding factor for me when choosing between these two, Simmons might be the most talented offensive lineman in this draft, but he's got the significant injury history. And with that, I went with the more dependable player in Gray Zabel as my choice. And I know some of you might think, too, well, Simmons has a better future at playing the tackle position compared to Zabel. And that very well may be true. But with signing Jaylin Moore, I feel very confident that he's going to be a good left tackle. And Zabel, I can throw into a guard spot. We'll see what they do with Jawan Taylor down the road. Maybe Zabel shifts over to the right tackle spot. But a lot of positional flexibility that I get out of Gray Zabel. And it will be a big learning curve for him to make that move up from the FCS level to the National Football League. But everything adds up. 6'6", 312. Played in 16 games last season, had an awesome Pro Football Focus grade of a 90.4. I don't care what level of football you're in. If that's the type of grades you're getting, you're a big hog molly, all right? Only allowed 1 sack. And his scouting report, according to our own Tom Downey, he said this about him. Plenty of run blocking experience. He's very good in that department. Has some link concerns, but plays with good quickness to offset, could use more weight to help with the power. And here's what we're talking about when it comes to his grades, folks. A 90.4 overall grade, a 93.1 pass block grade, and an 86.5 run block grade. Just really, really good across the board. Dane Brugler of The Athletic had this to say about Zabel. Zabel must prove he can consistently anchor against NFL power, but his light, flexible movements and strong hands keep pass rushers busy and displace defenders in the run game. A college tackle, he projects best inside at either center or guard, where he will compete for immediate starting reps and offer Pro Bowl upside. So you put him at the left guard spot, and, of course, you brought back Trey Smith. Great Humphreys there, Taylor, and more. I think you're feeling a lot better about this offensive line situation all of a sudden in Kansas City. How would you grade the pick of Gray Zabel? How did I do? I think I did pretty good. What do you guys think? It's our pin comment today. A, B, C, D, or F. Anything less than an A, you're a hater. Weigh in the comments section and let us know. Up next at 63, I went receiver, and I'll go with Jaylin Noel out of Iowa State. And one of the things I like about Jaylin Noel, extremely productive, despite having Jaden Higgins right next to him, who also had 1,000 yards this past season with the Iowa State Cyclones. Both of them were really good. Noel comes in at 5'10", 194, had 80 total catches for nearly 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns this past season. Not to mention, he's a KC Mo native as well. And look, there's some question marks at this receiver position right now. We don't know if Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy are going to face suspensions. Rashee Rice is coming off an injury. And then you got Juju and Hollywood who have had their issues staying healthy as well. I would feel a lot better about this receiving core with a guy that I think is going to be good for a long time, adding Jaylin Noel into that equation there. The scouting report from him, according to Tom Downey, goes as follows. Undersized, speedy receiver who can pull away from DBs but won't break a lot of tackles. Mostly a slot receiver, but had some reps on the outside and improved each season. Didn't offer a ton of yards after catch. And here's the numbers. 80 total catches. Nearly 15 yards a reception. Jaylin Noel, he was that dude. I think he would be great for Kansas City. The Athletic's Dane Brugler wrote this. Noel is a smaller target, but very quarterback friendly. Patrick Mahomes is going to like that. Because of the confidence he has in his hands and his athletic versatility, which makes him tough to cover. His scouting report and college tape give flashbacks to those of Christian Kirk when he was an NFL draft prospect. Noel can have a similar pro career. So, should the Chiefs draft Jaylin Noel? What do you think about this idea for the second-round pick at 63? You got two options here. Type S for select, P for pass. Chime in the comments section. Let me know. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get-to playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. I'm going to be headed to Oklahoma City to go watch the Thunder in the playoffs, but maybe you can't make it to an NBA playoff game. Don't worry. There's plenty of tickets to choose from on Game Time right here in Kansas City with the Royals, the Current, Sporting KC. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. You choose your seat. See if you like that seat or not. And then you're checking out on Game Time with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, where they offer last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time Picks makes last-minute ticket buying easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals where you can save even more when you choose a section. Let Game Time choose the seats. They have their all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They have their seat views. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price is guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPRTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Up next, we get help on the defensive line. The Chiefs looking for some other options to get younger here, and this is where we find Joshua Farmer, the defensive tackle from Florida State. Farmer, extremely productive in his career with the Florida State Seminoles. He was a big part of FSU's defense that went undefeated a season ago, and this past year, he held his own, 32 tackles, 8 TFLs, 4 sacks for the 22-year-old redshirt junior out of Port St. Joe, Florida. Checks in at 6'3", 305. Our scouting report on him, according to Tom Downey, high motor and crazy length displayed in flashes of pass rushing ability. Offers some explosion and solid athleticism, inconsistent and not what he should be as a run stopper, especially at his size. And you think about, all right, Chris Jones is not getting any younger. George Karlaftis is there, but you don't really have a ton after that. Farmer would add some much-needed depth and give you more pieces here. I think he's a natural fit for this Chiefs defense. His stats last year, we mentioned the 4 sacks, 26 pressures, along with 32 tackles and 8 TFLs there at Florida State. The Athletic's Dane Brugler had this to say on Farmer. Farmer goes through too many quiet stretches on film, but he is a force creator with his natural power, and as a two-gapper and promising pass rush tools, he should step into a rotation as a rookie and has the potential of a full-time starter. So, what do you think about drafting Joshua Farmer? You got 2 options here. You can type Y for yes, in for no, weigh in, and let us know if you would make that pick or not for the Kansas City Chiefs there at 66. Then at 95, this was the draft pick that the chat on our live show was just so excited about. This was by far their favorite pick of the entire draft. Real deal, Devin Neal from the University of Kansas. We already kept one hometown kid in Jaylin Noel, and now we're bringing over Devin Neal, the Lawrence, Kansas native, played his senior season at Arrowhead Stadium with the Kansas Jayhawks, and I can't say enough positive things about Devin Neal. I called his games in high school, and I saw this guy grow up, and I got to tell you, I've been impressed with him in every single way. The way he's carried himself, walked into a Kansas program that was at rock bottom, and he wanted to be the one that helped take this Kansas program to another level and be a part of a movement to rebuild Kansas football under Lance Leipold, and he was the face that put this all together. But just besides the leadership qualities, the on-the-field product is outstanding as well. A two-time second-team All-Big 12 selection, a very good runner. He's explosive. He's a good pass catcher as well. His scouting report, he's not a game breaker, but a solid player in lots of different facets. Good vision and pacing, but also a threat in the passing game. Lacks a little shiftiness and top-end speed, but I think this is somebody that when you look at not knowing the future of Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, they're probably not going to be around much longer. Devin Neal, I think, could be your starting running back for a long time. Here's his stats last year at KU. Over 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns, nearly 6 yards a carry. And I didn't even think they ran him enough, to be honest. I thought that they tried to pass the football too much with Jaylin Daniels there. And I thought they were trying to use Morrison and their other backs, and yet he still was really good, and he could have done more if they would have used him properly. Who's a player you want the Chiefs to draft? I've gone through my mock draft of these 3 rounds. What about you guys? Get in that comment section. Give me a name that comes to mind. So to recap, I think this is a home run draft for the first 3 rounds for Kansas City. We got great players, and we took care of some big needs. Zabel at 31, Noel at 63, Farmer at 66, and Neal at 95. I think I did a pretty bang-up job, if I'd say so myself. The rest of the Chat Sports mock draft, the first-round picks, let's show you these. Cam Ward, number 1 to Tennessee. Travis Hunter, 2 to Cleveland. Carter at 3 to the Giants. Campbell at 4 to the New England Patriots. Warren at 5 to the Jags. Genty at 6 to the Raiders. Mimbo at 7 to the Jets. Graham at 8 to the Panthers. Shed Orleans heads to New Orleans at 9. Green to the Bears at 10. Walker to the Niners at 11. Tetaroa McMillan to the Cowboys at 12. And then we saw Will Johnson to the Dolphins at 13. Jahad Campbell to the Colts at 14. Iman Wari to the Falcons at 15. Donovan E. to the Cardinals at 16. And there was a few surprises in this draft. Barron falls to 17 to the Bengals. I don't think anybody thought that Colston Loveland was going to be available for Seattle at 18. They take him there. Shamar Stewart at 19 to the Bucks. Hampton to the Broncos at 20. Derek Harmon to the Steelers at 21. Grant to the Chargers at 22. Luther Burden. Some people have him falling out of the first round. And the Packers, surprisingly, take a skill position player with him at 23. Malachi Starks to the Vikings at 24. Matthew Golden slips up to 25. There were some rumblings several weeks ago about him ending up in Kansas City. That seems unlikely now. He goes to the Texans. Kelvin Banks, who's on the board for the Chiefs, he's gone at 26, going to the Rams. James Pierce Jr., edge rusher, Tennessee, goes to the Ravens at 27. Walter Nolen, defensive tackle from Mississippi, goes to the Lions at 28. And then the final 4 picks of the first round, Jaden Higgins goes to Washington at 29. Trey Amos to Buffalo at 30. My pick, Zabel to the Chiefs at 31. And then Williams at 32 to the Philadelphia Eagles to round out the first round of the mock draft. And our other selections, by the way, if you want to see the second and third round picks that everybody made, go back and watch our live show that we did on Thursday, and you can see every single pick as they were made in real time, our real reactions and all that. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us here at the Kansas City Chiefs Report. More coverage throughout the next week as we count you down to the NFL Draft. We'll be live here on the Chiefs Report for the first round on Thursday. We'll also be live for the second and third round on Friday as well. We'll see you then. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.